From homeless to millionaire, the inspiring story of a black man meeting Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Alex Turner's story was already grabbing headlines before he even stepped into the bright lights of New Haven's booming real estate scene. Imagine this, a young black man, once without a home, scraping through nights on cold city benches, now shaking hands with two of the world's most powerful men, Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Sounds like a movie, right? But for Alex, it was real. The city buzzed with whispers about how he'd caught the eye of tech mogul Elon Harper, a shadowy figure rumored to fly his private jet into secret airstrips just to discuss new ventures. At 27, Alex was barely out of the struggle and yet was about to launch a housing project on the edge of untouched wilderness. Not just any houses, but luxury homes that promised something almost unbelievable. A staggering $569 million prize for the very first buyers. Investors and hopeful homeowners were all ready. His grandpadre había muerto por proteger este lugar. Una lucha reencantada con traición. Y aquí estaba, a punto de vender sueños sobre la misma zona reempagada de historia. Alrededor del sitio temblaba la electricidad. Cámaras flashearon, reporteros volaban, pero bajo el patinaje una tensión estupada. De por eso, hay un misterioso billonario que reclamaba sitios. Un fantasma que nadie quería nombrar. ¿Quién es? Susurran flotando en las bocas, palabras bien danzantes. Faces twisteando con sospecha. La gente sentía ahí el techo pulsante de secretos lotados en profundo de la tierra. La noche antes de su presentación, el celular de Alex buceabó rápidamente. Un caso terrible, como el dueño de un perricia, escondida de pinches alfateas y sombras dipa para suaver esperanza. The rush of adrenaline in Alex's chest twisted into cold dread. Was this just a risk or a moral trap? Digging deeper, Alex found himself tangled in more than blueprints and fancy numbers. The mysterious billionaire made contact, his voice low and demanding answers, rattling the ground beneath Alex's feet. The truths this man wanted threatened to pull apart everything Alex believed about his family, his dreams, and the project's purpose. Each revelation hit harder. It was no longer just construction. It was a reckoning. Then, from nowhere, a familiar face from Alex's past appeared again. A ghost from decisions he thought were long buried. Eyes locked. A breath caught. The future suddenly felt like a razor's edge, slicing between what Alex wanted to become and the legacy he was warned to leave behind. He stood at the crossroads. Push forward with blind ambition, or face the mammoth shadows behind the land. The buzz of the city faded into a heavy silence. What price was too high? What happens next? Who really owns the land, and what secrets are still lurking beneath the surface? Hey! Before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content that's coming. And since you're here, drop a powerful like. That really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and let me know in the comments, what city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. The city felt different that night. An energy crackled in the air, a tension thick enough to cut through. Alex stood at the edge, memories swirling in his mind like autumn leaves caught in a gust. The ground beneath him felt alive. But it wasn't just the weight of the past, or the whispers of betrayal. No, it was something darker, something waiting to erupt. Suddenly, his phone buzzed again. Ignoring it, he focused on the horizon, lost in thought until the ringing grew louder. Reluctantly, he grabbed it. A frantic voice on the line cut through the night air. "Alex, you need to see this! It's urgent!" That familiar voice belonged to Marcus, his old friend from the shelters. "What's going on?" Alex's heart raced. Thoughts of the land and the hidden truths faded as something new took shape. "There's been an accident at the site." Silence followed, heavy and thick. "You need to come quickly." Panic set in. Alex raced to his car, the engine roaring to life, heart pounding against his ribs. He arrived to find police cars, flashing lights, and a crowd of onlookers growing larger by the minute. His stomach twisted as he pushed through, desperate to know what had happened. At the center of it all, a gaping hole marked where the land had shifted. The ground trembled, like it was attempting to reveal its secrets. But what shocked Alex wasn't the hole. It was the figure on the ground, a familiar silhouette, lying motionless. "Marcus!" He rushed to his friend, kneeling beside him, the world blurred. Marcus's face was pale, eyes closed, and blood smeared across his forehead. Whispers echoed around him. "What happened? Was it an accident? He was warning someone." Alex felt guilt stab him deep. Marcus had been investigating the land's history, uncovering truths Alex chose to ignore. "Wake up, man! Please, wake up!" He shook him gently, but his friend didn't respond. Amid the chaos, a figure stepped forward. It was a woman in a crisp suit, her expression unreadable, yet cold. She watched from the shadows, a knowing glint in her eyes. It wasn't just sadness on her face. It was something darker. Anger? Regret? "Who are you?" Alex demanded, rising to his feet. She didn't answer right away. Instead, she glanced at Marcus and then back at Alex. Her voice calm but heavy with meaning. "You have no idea what you're getting into, do you?" "What do you mean?" Confusion swirled like a storm inside him. "There's more to this land than you realize. It's been cursed and tainted for generations, and you're standing right where it all began." His heart dropped. Cursed? Tainted? What was she talking about? The words echoed in his mind, leaving a trail of dread. "Look!" Another onlooker yelled, pointing at the hole. "There's something down there." Alex rushed back, his breath hitching. Shadows danced in the depths, shifting like memories stirring after years of silence. Before he could say anything, another shudder rang through the ground. A sudden crack split the earth around the site, and an object burst forth, landing at Marcus's side. A worn, leather-bound journal. Alex reached for it, fingers trembling. The cover felt too familiar, like it belonged to another time. As he opened it, secrets written in fading ink spilled onto the page. Names, dates, betrayals. Each line resonated with the weight of truth he was not prepared to face. But just as he began reading, an explosion of sound erupted from the crowd. The woman shouted, "Get back!" before she lunged toward him, trying to snatch the journal from his grip. He yanked it away, shocked. "What is going on? Stop! You don't know what that holds!" But it was too late. The pages fluttered in the wind, revealing a name that stopped Alex cold, striking him like lightning. One he thought was lost forever. The name of his grandfather. The night seemed to hold its breath. Alex's mind spun. What did it mean? Why was his family tied to this land? And just like that, doubt seeped into every corner of his heart. What if the dreams he'd built were founded on a lie? What if the fate of his family was intertwined in ways he never imagined? As the crowd closed in, fear mingled with determination. He had to uncover the truth before it devoured him whole. The stakes were higher than he ever realized, and the journey was only beginning. Alex's heart raced. Up and down the earth where his ancestors had walked, he could feel something shifting in the air. A crisp chill slithered up his spine, making him feel exposed, as if the very secrets of the land were creeping closer, ready to erupt. Suddenly, the night was sliced by the shrill wail of sirens winding through the city. Growing louder, a piercing reality crashing into his thoughts. He stood at that crossroads, breath catching as something deeper than his fears began to unfold. The phone in his hand buzzed again. But this time it wasn't a call beneath the dim glow of the screen. It was a text from an unknown number. Alex squinted at it. A simple, chilling message. "I know what happened. You're in danger." He froze. Confusion twisted inside him, mixing with a wave of dread. Who sent this? And what did they know? Did it say? The shadows whispered louder now, each gust of wind feeling like an accusation. Around him, the crowd of reporters had turned uneasy. They sensed it. Alex could see faces clouding with anxiety, worried murmurs passing like waves through them. Some pointed toward the tree line, eyes wide with disbelief. Then, out of nowhere, something exploded, like a bad dream come to life. A fireball shot into the sky from the direction of the wooded area. Flames erupted, shadows danced on the ground, and voices rose in chaos. Panic struck like lightning. People screamed, stumbling backward. "Get down!" someone shouted, but it was a moment too late. The earth shook underfoot, and Alex could barely keep his balance. Everything around him shifted. The world was unsteady, unpredictable. He turned just in time to see a convoy of SUVs barreling toward them, tires screeching against pavement. The lead car jerked to a stop, doors flinging open. Men in suits poured out, faces stern, eyes scanning like hawks. One of them stepped forward, a familiar face making Alex freeze. Marcus, a figure from his past, an old friend turned rival. "Alex!" Marcus shouted over the panic, his expression a mix of urgency and fear. "We need to talk, now!" Alex's stomach twisted. Marcus had always been ambitious. But why now? The looming threat behind him felt different. It became about survival, not business. "You have no idea what you're stepping into," Marcus continued, glancing nervously at the growing crowd, the smoke billowing from the forest. "They know you're here," he added, voice low. "The billionaires! The stakes! It's not what you think! They'll come for you!" Alex felt the room spin. "What do you mean?" Before Marcus could answer, the others were moving again, shouting, pulling people away. A woman nearby collapsed, gasping for breath. The sudden chaos tugged at something inside Alex. It felt too real. He wanted to help, but tension wrapped around him like a vice. "Trust me," Marcus said, grabbing Alex's arm and pulling him toward the SUV. "You have to believe me. This isn't just about land. It's about everything you thought you knew. There are layers to this. Layers." His mind raced. Betrayal lingered in the air, threatening to swallow him. The ground beneath his feet felt less stable by the second. And then, from the wreckage of confusion, a blaring horn echoed, a warning of something even bigger circling overhead. A drone, gliding silently, camera pointed straight at them. Who was watching? Who else knew? The weight of everything threatened to crush Alex. He faced Marcus, breathing hard. He almost asked for answers, but he knew. There was so much more beneath the surface. What other secrets were buried, and who held the keys? And as they hesitated, Alex caught a glimpse of a face from the crowd. An old friend, lost and found, standing outside the chaos, watching with knowing eyes. What ties bound them now? What did he hold back? He was still at that crossroads, but now it felt as if the branches were closing in, and the truth was waiting, just out of reach. Alex's heart raced up and down the earth where his ancestors had walked. He could feel something shifting in the air. A crisp chill slithered up his spine, making him feel exposed, as if the very secrets of the land were creeping closer, ready to erupt. Suddenly, the night was sliced by the shrill wail of sirens, winding through the city, growing louder, a piercing reality crashing into his thoughts. He stood at that crossroads, breath catching, as something deeper than his fears began to unfold. The phone in his hand buzzed again. But this time, it wasn't a call beneath the dim glow of the screen. It was a text from an unknown number. Alex squinted at it. A simple, chilling message. "I know what happened. You're in." Who sent this? And what did they know? Did it connect to the dark past buried in this land? The shadows whispered louder now, each gust of wind feeling like an accusation. Around him, the crowd of reporters had turned uneasy. They sensed it. Alex could see faces clouding with anxiety, worried murmurs passing like waves through them. Some pointed toward the tree line, eyes wide with disbelief. Then, out of nowhere, something exploded. Like a bad dream come to life, a fireball shot into the sky from the direction of the wooded area. Flames erupted, shadows danced on the ground, and voices rose in chaos. Panic struck like lightning. People screamed, stumbling backward. "Get down!" someone shouted. But it was a moment too late. The earth shook underfoot, and Alex could barely keep his balance. Everything around him shifted. The world was unsteady, unpredictable. He turned just in time to see a convoy of SUVs barreling toward them, tires screeching against pavement. The lead car jerked to a stop, doors flinging open. Men in suits poured out, faces stern, eyes scanning like hawks. One of them stepped forward, a familiar face making Alex freeze. Marcus, a figure from his past, an old friend turned rival. "Alex!" Marcus shouted over the panic, his expression a mix of urgency and fear. "We need to talk, now!" Alex's stomach twisted. Marcus had always been ambitious. But why now? The looming threat behind him felt different. It became about survival, not business. "You have no idea what you're stepping into," Marcus continued, glancing nervously at the growing crowd, the smoke billowing from the forest. "They know you're here," he added, voice low. "The billionaires, the stakes. It's not what you think. They'll come for you." Alex felt the room spin. "What do you mean?" Before Marcus could answer, the others were moving again, shouting, pulling people away. A woman nearby collapsed, gasping for breath. The sudden chaos tugged at something inside Alex. It felt too real. He wanted to help, but tension wrapped around him like a vice. "Trust me," Marcus said, grabbing Alex's arm and pulling him toward the SUV. "You have to believe me. This isn't just about land. It's about everything you thought you knew. There are layers to this." Layers? His mind raced. Betrayal lingered in the air, threatening to swallow him. The ground beneath his feet felt less stable by the second. And then, from the wreckage of confusion, a blaring horn echoed. A warning of something even bigger circling overhead. A drone, gliding silently, camera pointed straight at them. Who was watching? Who else knew? The weight of everything threatened to crush Alex. He faced Marcus, breathing hard. He almost asked for answers, but he knew. There was so much more beneath the surface. What other secrets were buried? And who held the keys? And just as the thoughts raced in circles, a piercing scream cut through the chaos. "Alex, no!" He turned. It was the woman in the crisp suit. She stood frozen, staring at the drone, eyes wide with horror. But as the drone swooped lower, the truth hit harder than the blast itself. She raised a shaking hand, pointing directly at Alex. "It's you! You're the one!" His breath caught. The words sliced through the chaos, ringing louder than the sirens and screams. "What do you mean?" But before she could respond, the drone whirred above them. A flash of light emanated from it, and suddenly, images began to flicker on the crowd's smartphones. Pictures that told a hidden story. Faces and names plastered across screens. Who he was, where he'd come from. But one face stood out, glaring back. His grandfather. The past crashed over him like a tidal wave. Who was he really? And why did his family's history matter to this moment? The mystery hung heavy in the air. As he struggled to grasp everything, the tension wrapped tighter. But then, through the noise, a familiar figure from the crowd pushed forward, weaving between people. Alex's eyes widened in disbelief as recognition dawned. It was his mother, the one person he thought was long gone. Her face twisted in fear, calling out his name. "What are you doing here?" he shouted, heart racing for more than one reason. "What you don't understand is the danger is connected to us, this family," she yelled over the din, her expression a mixture of fear and rage. Just like that, the pieces began to shift. Everything Alex thought he knew was about to unravel. What had his family been hiding? And what did it mean for his future now? Alex stood frozen, heart racing, the weight of his past clawing at his throat. The air thickened. He was dangerously close to the edge, teetering between dreams of grandeur and haunting shadows. Just as he gathered the courage to breathe, the wind shifted. A chill rippled through the crowd, gathered at the sight. Something was wrong. His phone buzzed violently in his pocket, pulling him back. As he pulled it out, he glanced at the screen, eyes widening. It was a text, a single line. "They know about your grandfather." The world tilted. Memories surged like an angry tide. The secret laughter, the veiled warnings, the whispered legends about his family. Suddenly, his vision blurred, the bustling crowd fading around him. The stakes were suddenly higher. The ground beneath him felt alive, crackling with energy. "Alex, are you okay?" A voice broke through. Maya, his friend from the neighborhood, her brow furrowed with concern. Before he could respond, her eyes darted to the crowd, widening in alarm. "Look!" A figure emerged from the throng, stumbling forward. It was an older man, frail but fierce, his wild eyes darting around like a trapped animal. "Alex!" he yelled, desperation clawing at his voice. "You have to listen to me!" The chattering reporters hushed. Cameras clicked in a frenzy. Who was this man? "Who are you?" Alex called out, uncertainty tinged with annoyance. The tension simmered. The crowd pulsated like a living entity. "Your grandfather's brother!" the man gasped. "The land, it holds curses, secrets. You don't understand." A collective intake of breath rose from the audience. Wolves smelling blood. Eyes widened. Murmurs erupted. Who was this old man? Why had he chosen now to interrupt? "Curses?" Alex's voice cracked. The words struck like a lightning bolt. "What do you mean? It's not just land, it's a graveyard. Your family, they made deals, Alex. Dark ones. Don't dig it up." He stumbled closer, fear etched into every wrinkle of his face. "They'll come for you. They'll take everything." The crowd rushed forward, reporters encircling the man, shoving microphones into his face. "What deals? What did Alex's family do?" They clamored, raw hunger fueling their questions. Alex's heart hammered. He swayed, clenching his fists. His dreams were built on this very ground. But now, doubt clawed at his certainty. "Maya," he hesitated, looking for support in her eyes. "What if this is true? What if there's something we're missing?" The shock ignited in her expression as an echo rang out from the crowd. A voice shouted, "You're lying! He's a fraud!" Silence folded over the space as every gaze turned to Alex, awaiting his reaction. Before he could respond, the ground below vibrated. A low rumble echoed, almost like a groan. "Shh!" Gasps rippled through the onlookers. The air shifted, heavy with unshakable tension. Alex's stomach clenched, not just fear. It was dread, the kind that wraps around your insides like a vice. With that sound, something broke loose in the earth. A dark cloud of dust erupted where Alex stood, swallowing him in surprise. He felt the ground tremble, and suddenly bricks and stones began to shift. "Run!" Maya screamed, the chaos igniting around them. People scrambled, some falling over one another as they searched for escape. But Alex stood still, heart pounding, mind racing. His body felt split in two. Where should he go? Before him lay buried truths, secrets clawing their way back to the surface. And as the dust settled, Alex realized, buried below that innocent ground, something far more insidious waited to resurface. What else could lie below? What would it mean for him? And who really was that man? Questions danced wildly in his mind as the world spun at the edges of his decision. The day was just beginning, and everything was about to change. Again. Alex stood there, heart racing. The weight of his family's history pressed down on him, threatening to crush every vision he had for the future. That familiar face, staring back with a mix of grief and anger, was none other than Jacob, his estranged brother. The brother he'd lost touch with after family tragedies had pulled them apart. Alex's breath hitched, and his pulse quickened. "What are you doing here, Jacob?" he stammered, urgency lacing his voice. Jacob moved closer, eyes flickering with something like desperation. "This place, it's not just a project for you, is it? It's ours, and you're selling it out." A murmur rippled through the gathered crowd, who sensed the tension building. The cameras twitched, catching every moment. Alex's mind raced, flooding with memories. A shared childhood. Their grandfather's stories sung under starlit skies. Whispers of battles fought for their family's land. Alex felt a lump rise in his throat. "I'm not selling anything, Jacob. I'm building something. For us. For everyone." But Jacob shook his head, almost bitterly. "You don't understand. They want more than dreams. They want to strip this land bare. You're in over your head, bro." "I'm in control. I'm doing this for both of us." "That's what you don't see," Alex snapped back, rage bubbling at the edges. "You walked away, Jacob. Don't you dare come here acting like you care now." The air hummed with tension. People started to whisper, the scent of scandal hanging thick inside their expectations. A piercing silence fell, only interrupted by the rustling leaves. Then, suddenly, a loud crack echoed through the air, slicing through the moment. A massive branch fell from a nearby tree, crashing to the ground, sending sparks of dirt and leaves in all directions. Gasps filled the air, and eyes turned wide with shock. The moment pulled everyone into a freeze. But the unexpected incident pushed something deeper within Jacob. His eyes glistened, and he leaned in closer, his voice barely above a whisper. "You think this land is just dirt? There's a reason why it's haunted. It holds more than just memories. The truth is darker than you think." "Stop!" Alex shot back, heat rising in his veins. "What are you talking about?" But before Jacob could answer, a figure emerged from the crowd, a burly man with an unmistakable aura of authority. He wore a tailored suit, and his eyes bore down on Alex with an intensity that felt like ice slid down his spine. "Let's keep this simple, gentlemen. You're not just dealing in dreams here. This land belongs to something much greater. And there are powers at play that you've yet to understand." Alex's heart raced as he took a step back, confusion swirling within him. Did this man truly know what lay beneath their feet? And what was Jacob hiding? The man continued, voice dripping with menace. "You're in deep, Alex. Cut your losses, or you'll lose more than just money. Remember, some riches come with deadly strings." A chill coursed through Alex. The hopes he had built felt suddenly fragile, shattering into countless pieces. What had he stumbled into? The excitement of the real estate project dimmed as dread washed over him. He exchanged glances with Jacob. Two brothers now drawn into a dark conspiracy, faced with betrayal and old wounds surfacing like unwanted ghosts. Out of nowhere, Alex's phone buzzed furiously in his pocket, breaking the thickening silence. He pulled it out, eyes widening. A text message flashed on the screen from an unknown number. "You need to hear the truth, Alex. Meet me tonight. Your future depends on it." The air crackled with uncertainty, a tidal wave of fear creeping in. What truth? Who wanted to save him? Trust felt like a distant dream, with every heartbeat echoing secrets he wasn't ready to uncover. And as whispers grew, that old fear from his days of living on the streets resurfaced. What if he was just another pawn in a game he didn't understand? What lay in the shadows waiting to upend everything? Alex stood there, heart pounding, as silence hung over him like thick fog. The emotions churned inside, a whirlwind of hope and fear. What was he going to do? The sound of footsteps snapped him back to reality. He looked up, and there she was, Jasmine, his childhood friend. Her bright eyes glinted with concern, but there was something else there. Something dark. "Alex," she said, urgency in her voice. "We need to talk. Now!" His stomach twisted. The last time they talked like this, it was about the future they dreamed of, not the shadows of their pasts. "What's going on?" he asked, trying to keep panic from creeping into his tone. "Meet me at the old park by the creek. We can't talk here." She glanced around, as if the wind itself was eavesdropping. "Please, just trust me." The weight of her urgency pressed down on him. So they left the bustling scene behind and walked toward the park. With each step, uneasiness grew. Was this about the project? About the mysterious billionaire? He could feel the doubts igniting doubts. Questions raced in his mind. Once they reached the park, the familiar sounds of water bubbling and leaves rustling felt foreign now. Jasmine's hands trembled as she spoke. "Alex, we can't ignore the past. You have to know what's really happening." Her voice went quiet, as if someone else might hear. "What do you mean?" His words felt heavy. "What are you talking about?" She inhaled and held it, like she was gathering courage. "Your grandfather, he wasn't just protecting land." Her gaze dropped to the grass, as if it could hold the weight of her confession. He was involved in something much darker. A bolt of shock coursed through him. "What do you mean? He fought for this family, for this place." "He made deals, dangerous ones. There are accounts, secrets buried in the soil. The city, it knows more than it says." Her voice cracked. "The land might be cursed." Alex felt a wave of nausea. Histories locked away from him. Threats that had silenced his family for years. "What are you talking about?" he demanded, his voice barely above a whisper. "I shouldn't have brought this up, but I saw something. The billionaire. He's connected. He's not just a stranger. He's part of this story. Your grandfather owed him. He's here to collect." As her words sank in, the world around him shifted. The sharp sound of breaking twigs broke the tense air. Someone was nearby. Heart racing, they turned to see a shadow moving through the trees. A figure emerged, a man in a dark coat, eyes hidden under the brim of a hat. "Alex Turner," he said, voice low and cool. "Time's running out." Jasmine gasped, taking a step back. The wrongness in the air thickened. Her expression told him everything. Fear wrapped around her heart like a vice. "What do you want?" Alex's voice came out steady, even as dread crept in, sweat gathering on his brow. The man smiled. "To remind you, some debts are paid in blood." Alex felt his breath hitch. What was he even standing on? Were the dreams built here rooted in lies? Was this about money or something more sinister? The weight of his family history crushed him as the truth clawed its way to the surface. "Do I have a choice?" he said, no longer sure what was real. The man stepped closer, shadows deepening with every advance. "You can run, but the past will chase you down." Jasmine's hand slipped into his, her warmth slicing through the cold uncertainty. But could they really fight against what loomed ahead? As the figure turned and vanished into the darkness, Alex's heart raced with terror. There was no way to go back. What was hidden there? Who had his grandfather made deals with? The land felt alive beneath him, whispering warnings. Tension hung in the air like a dry storm, begging to break. Could he escape the legacy? Would the truth bring them freedom, or drag them into deeper darkness? As doubt settled uncomfortably in his chest, he felt the shadows shift, leaving him caught between home and danger, truth and deception. The ground trembled beneath Alex's feet. The figure vanished into the shadows, but fear clung to him like a wet blanket. Jasmine's grip tightened around his hand, her eyes wide with uncertainty. "What now?" she whispered, her voice trembling slightly. I don't know, but we have to be careful," Alex replied, scanning the park. The trees loomed taller, their branches swaying as if they were whispering secrets. And then it happened. A piercing scream shattered the fragile silence. They turned just in time to see a woman, a stranger, collapse onto the grass, clutching her chest, her face twisted in pain. "Someone call for help!" Jasmine shouted, darting toward the woman. "Stay with us!" People around them scattered, some running to help, others pulling out their phones, capturing every moment. Alex felt a knot tighten in his stomach. He rushed to Jasmine's side, fear swelling. This wasn't the chaos he had expected. This felt different. "Is she okay?" he asked, his heart racing. "I don't know. Just keep her talking." Jasmine knelt beside the woman, her hands trembling. The woman's eyes fluttered open, scanning wildly before settling on Alex. And in that moment, everything shifted. "Help! Help me!" she gasped, suddenly reaching for Alex. Her fingers brushed against his wrist, and a shock surged through him. He felt cold and hot at the same time, as if someone had just drawn the life out of him. "You can't! Let them take it!" "What are you talking about?" Alex gasped, pulling back, confusion crashing down on him. But before the woman could respond, her body convulsed and her eyes rolled back. Panic rippled through the crowd. Someone shouted, "Call 911!" But the woman's breath came in short, jagged gasps. "Stay with us," Jasmine urged, her voice cutting through the chaos. Then, with a jolt, the woman sat up, gasping. "Your grandfather, he's not who you think he is." The words tumbled out like a waterfall, desperate and urgent. Every eye was glued to her, the world narrowing to this moment. He made a pact with the one who watches. You have to break it. Suddenly, she slumped back down, eyes fluttering shut, and in that very moment, two black SUVs rolled up, tires screeching. The dark figures inside stepped out, authority radiating from them, eyes sharp and predatory, men in suits, ready to reclaim something they felt was theirs. "Get back!" one shouted, pushing through the crowd, eyes scanning for Alex. Alex felt a rush of adrenaline surge. "What do they want?" "They're here for you!" Jasmine yelled, squeezing his arm. A weight pressed on his chest, reality crashing down. The woman looked like she had tried to warn him, and now this. "We need to go, now!" He turned on his heel, pulling Jasmine with him, but just as they took a step, a loud crack echoed through the air. The trees were falling, branches snapping, fury unleashed by unknown forces. The ground felt unsteady again, the air thick with an impending storm. Eyes widened, mouths dropped open in fear. Through the chaos, a scream echoed again, a voice he recognized. "Jasmine!" Alex whipped around, and there she was, another Jasmine, a ghost from his past he thought he had lost years ago, appearing like a mirage. "You need to choose!" she cried, taking desperate steps toward him. "You have to decide, or you'll lose everything." His heart sank. "What is happening? Who are you?" And then the light flickered. Shadows twisting around them, as if the very fabric of reality was bending. The first Jasmine staggered back, clutching her chest. "Tell him!" The truth about everything. But before Alex could comprehend, darkness fell upon the park, an otherworldly shadow creeping in from the edges. He stood between the two, each Jasmine melting into the murky gloom as hands reached out. What was this? Dread settled heavily in the air, thick and suffocating. "No! No!" Then the earth shook again, and the park fell silent. The world around him started to distort. Time rippled, confusion reigning. Who was real? What did he really know about his family? And in that silence, a single thought echoed, haunting and relentless. Was he destined to repeat the past? Or could he break free? Alex felt lost, trapped in a mystery far deeper than he imagined. And in that turmoil, a question lingered. What truly lay beneath the surface of his life, waiting for its moment to emerge? The ground shook again, as if the earth itself couldn't bear the weight of the truth any longer. Alex's breath hitched, swallowed by a rising tide of chaos. What had he stumbled into? He grasped Jasmine's hand tighter, feeling her pulse flutter against his palm. Shadows danced around them, the air thick with a dread that pressed against his chest. And then it happened. The dark figure emerged from the trees, his presence slicing through the whirlwind of confusion. "You don't have to be frightened," the man said, his voice smooth, yet dripping with intent. "I'm here to help you uncover the truth." Help? The word hung in the air, like a poisoned promise. Alex felt a rush of unease. Why would this man help him? "He's lying!" Jasmine yelled, her voice edged with urgency. "He's part of it! Don't trust him!" But before anyone could react, the shadows behind the figure shifted. Another shape emerged, a woman stepping out as if from another world. Her eyes were piercing, locked onto Alex like a hawk on its prey. "Alex, listen to me!" she implored, and the urgency in her voice echoed in his bones. "Everything about your family is tied to this land. But it's worse than you think. What do you mean? He demanded, voice shaky as the revelation gripped him tight. You think the contracts, the deals made by your grandfather, those were mere exchanges for power and wealth? No, they came at a cost. She took a step closer, her gaze unyielding. Your family made a blood pact. They sold pieces of your soul, literally. Heat surged through him. You're lying! But the crowd murmured, a ripple of worry creeping into the expression surrounding them. No, Alex, it's all real. It's written in your family history, she pressed. And they are coming for what you owe. You thought you could just build a life here, right? But this land is drenched in sacrifice. Your blood, it's tied to the earth. Alex's hands trembled, confusion clouding his mind. Blood? Sacrifice? His family, once pillars of strength in his life, now felt like chains dragging him down. And then, as if orchestrated by fate, the distant sirens grew louder, swirling around them like vultures, all eyes glued to the unfolding scene. Jasmine turned to him, tears pooling in the corners of her eyes. You have to fight this, Alex! A moment passed, heavy with consequence, and just as he started to talk, the woman suddenly fell to the ground, clutching her throat. Panic exploded in the crowd as she writhed, gasping. The figure stepped forward, eyes wide with shock, and whispered, "No, not like this." The ground trembled again, but this time it felt different, threatening, alive. Before anyone could react, the earth yawned open at their feet, and a dark void appeared, sucking the air from the surroundings. "Run! It's a reaction!" Jasmine shouted, pulling Alex with her. They stumbled backward, trying to escape the encroaching darkness. But as they turned, Alex caught a glimpse of the man's face, his features twisting into a painful expression of horror. "It shouldn't have happened like this," he screamed, but then the shadows enveloped him, dragging him into the depths. "Alex, we can't leave him!" Jasmine shouted, struggling against the pole. "Let him go! It's not safe!" he shouted back, panic coursing through him. Gods above, was this really happening? Did he have the power to save anyone? Within the chaos, a familiar voice rang out through the haze. A voice he never wanted to hear again. "You think you can erase our past and walk away unscathed?" Alex's heart plummeted as he turned, face to face with Jacob. "You? Here?" His stomach twisted. "Surprise!" Jacob sneered, his expression contorted with an unsettling blend of rage and relief. "You thought you could escape? I am here to set things right, or destroy you trying." The ground continued to shake, and the void sought to swallow them. Everything, the dreams, the project, the history, was collapsing like a house of cards. "Alex, this is your chance," Jasmine urged, her grit reflecting the desperation in her voice. "Don't let him drag you down with him." But before Alex could choose, the darkness surged, and in that split second, the truth blasted through him. Jacob wasn't just his brother. He was the key, the one controlling everything. He locked eyes with Jacob, realization crashing over him like a tidal wave. "Why are you doing this?" Alex shouted, his voice lost in the storm. The answer hung in the air like a phantom, and just like that, the ground beneath them cracked, splitting open. What lay beneath? The truth, the cost, the dark legacy, all merged in that moment, threatening everything Alex had ever believed. And as the darkness loomed, swallowing the world whole, He felt the weight of his choices crush him. The legacy promised in blood, looming larger than any dream he could ever build. The darkness loomed, swirling around them like a storm, whispering secrets of the past. Alex stood frozen, torn between the two realities unfolding before him. The ground shook again, threatening to swallow everything whole. Jasmine's grip tightened in solidarity, pulling him back from the brink. "Alex, listen, you have to choose." Jasmine's voice rang clear against the chaos. "Let's break the cycle." "Break what cycle?" he shouted, panic creeping into his words. "What do I even choose? Your family's legacy or your own fate? You can't let the past decide for you," she yelled, urgency filling her eyes. The shadows shifted again. Jacob stepped closer, a storm of anger and desperation behind him. "You think running away will help? You can't escape what's owed." Alex felt every ounce of that truth stab at him. Dot. The debts of blood, every sacrifice laid bare. What do you want from me? He felt the tremors of the earth, as if the very history beneath him screamed for release. "Fight back! Take control!" Jacob roared, but in his voice was a mixture of fear too. They both felt it, the pull of something deeper, something ready to reclaim. "Choose!" cried the woman from earlier. But her words blurred, swallowed by another tremor. The ground beneath their feet began to crack wider. An invitation to the void below. Then came a piercing sound, a splintering that echoed through the chaos. An old tree, rooted for decades, shuddered and fell, crashing into the dirt. The crowd gasped, eyes filled with confusion and dread. "Now! We have to go!" Jasmine shouted, pulling Alex with her. But with every step they took, the shadows danced closer, as if alive. The weight of choices and family lore hung heavy around them. "Alex," Jasmine pleaded, "if we let this happen, we're part of the cycle. Don't repeat it." He grasped her hand tighter, the warmth grounding him. And in that instant, a fire ignited in his heart. "No! I'm not my grandfather's sins. I'm not my brother's mistakes." Jacob's eyes widened at the declaration. But before he could respond, the darkness surged forward. Somehow, Alex knew. He had to take a stand. "I'm reclaiming this land. I'm breaking the cycle." With that, he charged toward the shadows, confidence surging through him. Jasmine followed, their unity a defiant glow in the dark. The ground shook again, but this time it felt different. The power shifted. It was like carving a new path through the roots of despair. Suddenly, a bright light burst from the earth, a beam piercing through the encroaching darkness, illuminating everything. Faces turned toward the light, hope thriving amid despair. "They're scared!" Jasmine called out, realization behind her eyes. Alex could feel the fear released into energy. "We can't let them take what's ours." Their voices resonated, unifying the crowd who watched, wonder etched on their faces. And just like that, the shadows dissipated, retreating from the brightness of truth and reclamation. The sky began to clear, revealing stars flickering in the distance, a promise of hope among chaos, a fresh start. But even as victory hung in the air, Alex knew the fight wasn't over. The past would always linger. He turned to Jasmine, her eyes reflecting that hard-won light. "What do we do now?" She smiled, heart bursting with the weight of shared history. "Now, we keep moving forward, together." And as the crowd began to cheer, Alex realized they wouldn't just heal from their past. They'd rewrite it, reclaiming their legacy, their story. But in the shadows, echoing thoughts lingered. Were the threats truly gone? Or did darkness still stir beneath the surface? With uncertainty dancing at the edges, Alex grasped Jasmine's hand, ready for whatever came next. Before you go, you have to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the upcoming exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this ending. Don't wait even a second longer to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this ending. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Ha 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 ha!